I've been promising a lot of people a video on Tim Pool explaining why Dominick Black should sue the ever-loving out of him. Well, I'm tired. I got beaten pool tonight, and frankly, I'm in a foul mood. So I don't know how far I'm going to go into this. However, we're certainly going to be going in far enough to give you an idea that Tim Pool really screwed up. Hello out there. I am trying to get through.
With his powerful brainwaves cradled in the warmth of reasoning, it's time for Johnnie Walker Dread to straighten you out on a thing or two. Emanating all the way from exciting Las Vegas, Oklahoma, it's the Johnnie Walker Dread Show.
Now, I know a lot of you out there are thinking, oh, Tim Pool, he's such a good friend of Kyle's. Yeah, not exactly. Let's watch.
It seems that Kyle Rittenhouse is actually winning. Now I'm surprised. I'd been saying for a long time that I felt that the jurors were going to be too weak, and maybe that will still be the case. I didn't trust the judge to do the right thing. That is absolutely wrong. People are saying this judge is very based. And based on the way things are going in this trial, it really does seem like the prosecution has no case. And only
Yeah, the prosecution has no case. We knew that because we researched it. You didn't. You flat gave up on Kyle, and you went on your show and said that he's going to be convicted. He's going to serve a life sentence. Now, if you're Kyle Rittenhouse, how would you like to listen to that crap? There were some of us who did not give up on Kyle, by the way. We did the research. We pounded hard to keep the message out there. But not you. You quit on him. Quitter. That's you. Of course, this has nothing to do with a Dominick Black lawsuit, but I just want to set the stage. Tim is not an ally.
only did this out of fear. And so we have a couple days of analysis from Andrew Branca. He's a great legal mind. He writes for Legal Insurrection, and we followed his coverage and his opinions pertaining to Derek Chauvin. Now, I respect his opinion. Ultimately, he said, I believe, I could be wrong. He said that Chauvin should have gotten acquitted, but ultimately Chauvin was convicted. Why? Well, this is why I said I thought Kyle Rittenhouse was going to get life in prison, and I've said a lot, but I'm changing my mind.
Great. Nice way to keep his optimism up there, huh? And by the way, it's hard to raise funds for your legal defense when you have prominent people out there that are supposedly on his side saying he has no chance at all. That's what you said. You said he's going to prison. Who wants to donate to that self-defense fund? So yeah, you did hurt Kyle a lot here.
I figure that people are going to cave like cowards because people, well, look, let's just be real. People on the right tend to be cowards. They might be smarter, some people on the right than many on the left. But at least people on the left have that emotion behind them. Yeah, I know. Yep, that's just reality. You get a bunch of conservative thinkers. They're smart. They're analytical. They check their facts. Great. But they don't have the rage behind them. And many of the people on the right are more than willing to back away and not stand up for what needs to be stood for. Case in point, there was apparently a juror during jury selection who said that they would not be impartial because they believe in the Second Amendment. Wow. When I saw that, I'm just like, the right deserves to lose. I mean,
when I saw that, I thought, there's a juror that doesn't want to serve on jury duty. You don't want to serve on jury duty, so what do? You make up some sort of statement that makes it a very strong stand, so you get kicked out. That's what that person was doing. Oh, well, you got fooled by it.
We'll talk about that. But I want to start with this scumbag, Dominick Black.
People are saying, well, I don't understand. I don't think he said anything really terrible about Dominick. Well, he starts off with a scumbag, and it's going to get a whole lot worse. And there's nothing wrong with that necessarily from a civil standpoint. You're not going to be able to sue him for that. He's entitled to his opinion. But that's not the problem.
This, my friends, should be in the dictionary next to coward, spineless, pathetic loser.
All you people out there saying, oh, he didn't say anything bad about Dominick. Okay, go ahead. You hold that thought.
I was so offended watching Dominick Black's testimony. I feel this dude should get locked up for the max, 12 years. I hope the state throws the book at this guy. Let me explain.
Yeah, you do that.
Meet Dominick Black. He said Kyle Rittenhouse was his brother. They were brothers. Not really, just really good friends.
That's right. They were just really good friends. They were not brothers. And you tend to forget that over the next half hour.
Dominick Black provided the AR-15 to Kyle Rittenhouse. Now he's saying, well, he stole it.
Whoa, wait a minute. He said that Kyle stole it? Hold on to that thought.
Stole it from my dad.
He repeats it twice. He stole it. He's saying that Dominick Black made that statement. He stole it from my dad. Okay.
On the day of August 25th, 2020, the day when all this stuff happened, did he possess that gun?
Yes.
How did it come to be that he gained possession of that gun on August 25th?
My dad took a lot of the weapons we had out of the safe due to all the rioting and stashed them inside the house in case somebody were to come break into our house. And that gun happened to be one of those weapons.
Do you know how the defendant took possession of it that day?
I do not. All I'm aware of is that it was downstairs.
When did you first see the defendant with that weapon that day?
When I was in the kitchen. So about, I want to say a few hours before we left.
And tell us what you saw when you were in the kitchen.
I saw him coming up the stairs with it.
With the AR-15?
Yes.
Did you hear him ask you permission to take that gun?
No.
Did you hear him ask permission from your father?
No.
When the defendant came upstairs with that gun, what, if anything, did he do with it?
I believe he set it down on the table and started looking for medical supplies.
What do you mean by medical supplies?
Like bandages, rubbing alcohol, certain things like that.
So I believe you described that the defendant took the gun into the kitchen, put it on the table. He was gathering some medical supplies. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
What happened after that?
We proceeded to get ready and then we went down to the lake.
And at that point, you are worried about the fact that you had given Kyle the gun, correct?
Yes.
You're worried about the fact that you had given Kyle the gun. Does that sound like Dominick Black is saying that Kyle stole the weapon?
And you talked to your girlfriend, his sister, at the police department and asked about coming up with a story to protect you regarding the guns, correct?
I do not remember that.
If she said it happened, you would disagree, correct?
I would disagree.
Okay. And Detective Antaramian asking you a question on the morning of the 26th. So when did you first see the gun? You. About when we were getting into the car, when we walked outside the house. Detective Antaramian. Okay. Did you talk to him about it at all? No. I had a lot of stuff on my mind. Do you remember that exchange?
Yes.
Okay. Nothing bad had happened at that point, correct?
Correct.
So what did you have on your mind that was interfering with you saying, hey, Kyle, don't take the gun?
Kind of scared to go down there, not knowing what to expect.
Just, you wanted Kyle to have the gun, correct?
That wasn't really an opinion in my mind at all.
You wanted a gun.
Personally, for myself, yes.
Does it sound like Kyle stole the weapon from Dominick? What kind of person, if Kyle really stole the weapon from Dominick, would say that, well, I didn't really care or I didn't really have any idea about whether I wanted him to have the gun or not?
You had no objection or voiced no objection to Kyle, your brother, having the gun, correct?
It wasn't a thought in my mind.
Well, he walked
That's right. So you didn't voice any objection. So he's not claiming that Kyle stole the gun.
out of the house with an AR-15 and you don't say boo, correct?
I didn't say anything, correct?
And you have the ability to speak.
Yes.
If you wanted to object, you could have said something to Kyle, correct?
Yes, I could have.
And you
Does it sound like Kyle stole the weapon? No, Dominick is not making any claim even close to that.
did.
No.
Because you wanted him to have the gun for protection.
Not that reason exactly.
You wanted a gun for protection.
Yes.
This is a piece of garbage.
And because of that, he's a piece of garbage. This is called defamation.
This guy is a piece of garbage. Dominick, you're trash. And I hope you go to prison for a long time. You don't deserve the support of anybody. After what I heard, let me tell you.
After what I heard. So in other words, Tim Pool is admitting he did hear the testimony. He can't claim, well, I didn't actually watch, so I was only going by what people told me. No, you just admitted you listened to the testimony and that you heard Dominick Black say that Kyle Rittenhouse stole that weapon.
Here's the story. Dominick and Rittenhouse go to his house. They go into the basement and they get some rifles.
That's not what happened. Dominick describes it quite differently.
They leave. Sounds a whole lot like Dominick Black was the one who said, Kyle, here's a weapon. Why, he had one to protect himself with, and he let Kyle take one as well. Now, he's being charged with providing the weapon to Kyle Rittenhouse. He testified that Kyle stole it.
Really? He testified that Kyle stole it.
that he took it without his permission. Though on cross-examination, the defense said, did you object? Did you say anything? And he said, no.
So he didn't steal it.
And as it turns out, what may be one of the most disgusting and despicable things we've heard so far from someone who claims to be a friend, from someone who's supposed to be an upstanding member of his community standing up for what he believes in. We learned, the defense asked, you have agreed to testify because you are hoping the prosecutor will not send you to prison if you testify against Kyle.
That's right. The defense is asking him that question. Gee, I wonder what the defense wants him to say. I wonder what Kyle Rittenhouse actually wants him to say.
And Dominick was like, that is correct.
That's exactly what the defense wanted him to say. You idiot. Dominick Black, if he wanted to screw Kyle, he would have said, no, my testimony is pure. I have no ulterior motive at all. By saying correct, he's given Mark Richards what Mark Richards wants. That's why Mark asked the question. Dominick knows when the question comes out that that's what Mark Richards wants to hear. And he gave it to him, basically undermining his prior testimony. And Binger did not want him to say that.
And now I think y'all agree with me, right?
No, we don't agree with you. Unless you're asking us if we think that you're a moron, then yeah, we do agree with you.
I will not tolerate that kind of spineless, sniveling, pathetic behavior.
Oh, really? You're not going to tolerate it? Then what are you going to do about it? When you say you're not going to tolerate something, that means you're going to do something to stop it. What are you going to do? Tough guy?
Now, look, I don't know these guys. I don't live there, so it's just my opinion.
Yeah, but it's not just an opinion. You didn't express just an opinion. You came on your show and you told your audience that Dominick Black told Binger and Richards under sworn testimony that Kyle stole the weapon, and Dominick did not say that. That is not a matter of opinion. That's a factual statement that you inserted into your show that is wrong, and you knew it was wrong. You said you watched the damn trial. You have no excuse here.
But think about your willingness to sell out your brother out of a fear of the state sending you to prison. What have we become?
He's not Kyle's brother. You just got done telling us that he's not Kyle's brother. And therefore, he's not selling out his brother. Frankly, I listened to Dominick Black's testimony and I don't get it. Where's the big sellout? He didn't say anything that really helped Binger. And actually, he'd said something that really screwed Binger over, and everybody has missed it. And we're going to show it to you here a little bit later.
I mean, I grew up thinking that we were a country of people who would, man, Steve Rogers, Marvel movies, not real life. I know.
Yeah, I know. It's not real life. So why are you bringing it up? It's stupid. You don't base these things on movies.
But still, something to aspire to be. That scene when Tommy Lee Jones pulls the pin in the fake grenade and throws it, and then everyone runs away and Steve Rogers jumps on it and says, "Get away," thinking that he would jump on this and save everybody. It was an amazing scene.
Yeah, that's the kind of courage and bravery you're going to get maybe one out of every 10,000, 20,000 people. That kind of thing is extremely rare. And usually those things happen under very intense conditions, combat situations. When people have an opportunity to think about what's going to happen when they jump on it, they tend to not do it quite so often.
That's the kind of stuff that inspires me. And unfortunately, it's just not real life. When, what was the doctor's name? Erkson or whatever. And he's like, we need someone of good moral character. And the Tommy Lee is like, no, we need someone strong. And he pulls it and throws it. And Steve Rogers jumps on the grenade. We write stories like that because we're inspired by sacrifice, by someone willing to say, I will not send someone else to the gulag in my stead.
Yeah, that's easy to say. But again, Kyle is not Dominick's brother. And let me ask you a question, Tim. Suppose that your son was placed in Dominick's shoes and he asked you for advice. Your son is facing, let's say, 12 years in the federal pen. And you're going to tell your own son to go to prison for a friend? A friend that he's known for what, maybe a year or two? You really would do that to your own kid? How many out there would do that? How many out there would say, yes, son, it's better for you to go to prison for 12 years so that your friend doesn't have to? In the meantime, your friend's out there frolicking, cruising around, picking up chicks, partying, while your son is in prison for 12 years. And who knows what kind of horrors are being inflicted on him? You would put your own kid in that situation? Okay, I wouldn't. Hell no.
And I will not back off from my principles. What do we get with this guy? So he gives Kyle Rittenhouse a gun. And then when the state is like, that was illegal, he goes, I'll do anything, please. Throw Kyle in prison, not me. He's the one who had the gun.
Hey, you better be able to support that claim with evidence, boy, because there is no indication that ever happened. We all know that this was probably a very rough time for Dominick. He probably had to think very hard about these things. This idea somehow that he just went in and said, oh, I'll just say anything, Mr. Binger, just don't put me in prison. That's a fabrication. You made it up, and you're going to pay for that.
What a pathetic piece of garbage.
Yeah, he hasn't said anything really bad about Dominick. Oh, no.
Now we get to Dominick Black, the guy I just ragged on for several minutes. They say, on cross-examination, Attorney Richards had Black concede that he was currently being charged with 2 counts of having provided Kyle with the rifle, that each count was good for 6 years if convicted, and that it was ADA Binger himself who had charged and was prosecuting Black. Further, although Black's trial had been set for some months ago, Binger had arranged for the trial to be delayed until after Black had testified against Kyle. He also had Black concede that he certainly hoped Binger would go easy on him in his own case given his testimony in his trial. Although both Black and the state would deny that any deals had been made, the coercion present was palpable. On the issue of the supposed plans by Kyle to flee, that was, okay, so that's another issue.
Yeah, the coercion claim was palpable, which is in Kyle's favor.
Think about that. Think about the kind of person that would say, this person is my brother. I want them to be safe during riots. Here's a weapon. And then when the state comes here, they go, well, throw him in the gulag. I'll do anything you say.
Yeah, again, do you have any evidence that such a conversation even took place? And by the way, I don't see Kyle taking the stand to save Dominick Black's hide.
I'd give him the middle finger. I would give him the middle. I'd say, you want to come after me? You want to come after me? Fine, I'll tell you what. You come after me, and I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to testify 10 times as hard or whatever. Not that you actually can. But I will make sure I will do everything in my power to support Kyle.
Oh, so in other words, when the civil suit comes around, and I really hope Dominick Black sues the ever living shit out of you, but when the civil suit comes around, they're going to use this to say, so you'd be willing to lie on the stand to save your hide. You just got done admitting that you'd be willing to lie on the stand to help a friend. What about helping yourself not lose $1 million? Dominick Black's attorney is going to have a field day with that. You just admitted you're willing to lie on the stand if it benefits someone.
If that were me. I went through something similar. Because
he went through something similar. Oh, yeah. Wait until you hear this story. Oh, it's very much like Dominick Black going to prison for 12 years. Yeah, very much. Let's listen to this. By the way, this is probably a whole bunch of horse manure that he's shoveling at you, but we'll see.
I told the story before that I was on, me and my brother had been on trial for disorderly. My brother was charged with disorderly and assault. I was charged with disorderly. And it was a false charge. It was a completely fabricated charge.
Oh, of course, it was a false charge. Those boys didn't do anything.
Security guards, got a report. They saw us, assumed we were the people. We weren't, so they just started attacking us. And then,
well, yeah, it was a false identification. It was somebody else. Man, come on. This is so made up. You fabricated this story. You want to create this story about how you went to jail, but you don't want your audience to think that you're a bad guy. So guess what? It was a case of false identification. Wasn't me. Oh, man. Anybody out there who believes this crap, you deserve what you get.
when they realized they got the wrong guys and were for some very serious civil penalties, they made up fake charges, and the cops went along with it. When we finally, after like several court appearances, we were offered community service. But because my brother was facing 6 months with assault and I was facing 30 days, I said, I'm going to go to trial. And we don't want Chris to get, 6 months, so he should take the deal. The deal was like 20 hours of community service at our own discretion, which meant you literally just sign a paper saying you're done at your own discretion. Like no sign off, just, hey, we're done, bye. They considered a slap on the wrist. So when our lawyer informed the judge and the DA that I was going to trial, the prosecutor visibly exclaimed, "What?" And the judge was like, whoa, calm down. And so then when our attorney came back over and said to both of us, like, my brother was like, why is she yelling? And he's like, well, she's upset that, Tim's going to trial with this because they effectively gave you a slap on the wrist to walk. And my brother was like, screw her, I'm going to trial now too. See, that's the kind of attitude we have. You want to screw with us? You only make it worse for yourself. You want to negotiate? You want to be reasonable? We are reasonable people.
Oh, he's so tough. Oh my God. Man, you just don't want to screw with these guys. They're tough. And they'll stand up to any prosecutor. Just tell them, you go to hell. Okay.
You want to start a fight? You get a fight. This dude is a loser.
By the way, we should ask ourselves, when he describes what he actually did in jail, because he sacrificed, right? It's all about sacrifice. And he's telling Dominick Black, well, you should go to prison for 12 years for your friend, like I did. Really? Okay. So he's now going to regale us with stories about how tough it was to serve that 6 months in jail that he volunteered to do because he was doing that out of love for his brother. So let's hear him tell his story about how tough things were. He probably was on a chain gang. And while they were working the chain gang, they're probably singing songs. He might have learned some new songs that they sing while they're on the chain gang. They get up at 7 o'clock in the morning. They probably work out there in the fields until 9 o'clock at night every day. It was grueling. Let's hear his story about how tough it was.
Who would sell out his own brother because he's scared. Pathetic. And it's people like him as to why the right deserves to lose. Because if the right is nothing but people like this guy, then y'all will be rotting away.
I'm not hearing any story.
Which brings me to the next bit here.
Oh, wait a minute. Which brings us to the next bit. What happened to the story about you serving that time, sacrificing your freedom for your brother? You didn't go to jail. First of all, I don't think this thing ever happened in the first place. But even if it did, you didn't go to jail. If you did, you'd be telling people about it. Most likely what happened was that you volunteered to do this because your attorney told you that because you didn't have any priors, you were probably just going to get, at worst, probation. You weren't facing jail time, so don't give us that crap. Yet he wants Dominick to go to prison for 12 years. Keep in mind, Tim Pool was doing this, supposedly, for his own brother. Kyle isn't Dominick's brother. They've known each other, 2-3 years? And so you're saying this is the same. Dominick Black going to the federal pen for 12 years for a friend is just like you basically serving probation for your brother. Oh, and by the way, I should mention something. When Dominick Black sues the ever-loving hell out of you, and I hope he does, that little story is going to be used. It's going to surface because you used that story to pound home the theme that Dominick Black was a coward and a traitor. And so they're going to ask, well, what was the truth behind the story? And you're going to have to divulge that. And you're going to have to tell your audience, by way of the actual court proceedings, that what happened there wasn't the way you were describing it. You didn't make any sacrifice at all. In my next installment, I'm going to take you to the actual testimony of Dominick Black, and there is a certain little segment that everybody missed. And once I show it to the audience, and once you see it, Tim, you're going to realize you had this all wrong. Dominick actually worked in Kyle's favor. So, does Dominick have an opportunity here? Oh yeah, this is juicy as hell. You can't get a better lawsuit. First of all, you have Tim Pool making factual statements that were lies. This is not a matter of opinion. Yeah, you can go in there and say, I think that Kyle Rittenhouse is a no good piece of crap. You can say that. That's not going to get you in trouble. What gets you in trouble is when you make factual statements that are wrong and that you knew were wrong. You admitted you watched the trial. You knew damn well that Dominick never said that Kyle stole that weapon. But you said it anyway because you were trying to whip up a fervor against some 18-year-old kid. The other thing that's really juicy about this is Tim Pool's got a lot of money to go after. That's kind of important.
No.